World of Warcraft is huge. After 20 years and 10 expansions, the world is so large that if I were dropped into it myself, I could never explore it all. Or could I? In an attempt to better my health and put my footprint on this game, I will explore all of Azeroth and beyond with my own 2 feet. For each step I take in the real world, I will earn 1 more step in World of Warcraft. It doesn't matter if it's a step earned from walking the dog, going to work, doing chores, or just pacing around the house, every step counts. I don't know how long it will take, but eventually I will have actually walked every expansion and every zone every step of the way. This is Steplocked. But how will I do this, you ask? In the real world, it's easy. Some determination and a Fitbit help track my daily steps. In the game, however, it's a little more complicated. I searched for an add-on to help track my steps, but nothing seemed to work how I'd want it to. So, with a little help from some tutorials, I made my own. The next problem is, how much is a step in World of Warcraft? Our heroes come in all shapes and sizes within the game, and with this, they have different sized steps. I'm going to be playing on a fresh account as the Horde in this challenge as I am comfortable with their earlier zones, so I analyzed each of their walking patterns. The walk cycles of the characters are what I will sync my add-on to, as a large majority of my real life steps will also be from simply walking. Every character in the game moves at the same speed no matter their size or height. This means naturally that smaller characters must have to take more steps in order to keep up with the bigger characters. The smallest steps of a fresh account Horde race would be both male and female goblins. They complete a 2-step walk cycle in about 24 frames. The largest, on the other hand, is the male Tauren, who completes a 2-step walk cycle in about 42 frames. This means that a goblin trying to keep up with a male Tauren would have to take 75% more steps. The other races fall between these points, with the average 2-step cycle being 30.5 frames. The closest to that is male Blood Elf. I didn't want to make this challenge too easy on myself by picking the largest step size, so after looking at this data, I landed on the Pandaren. Despite their larger size, they have stubby legs and have to take the second most steps of the races listed. This felt right as it both set more of a walking challenge, and I'm also built like a Pandaren in real life. With that being said, meet Solemate, my hero for this journey. Together he and I will take the exact same amount of steps until we have explored and adventured all of Azeroth and beyond. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with just 1 step, so without further ado, let's begin.
You are a soldier of the mighty Horde.
I won't bore you with all that. I learned once I began that every new account is forced to start in Exile's Reach instead of their native starting zone. I'm okay with this because it gives me a great opportunity to explain my rules and show examples of how this challenge will work. Every day I will screenshot my Fitbit app and then import those steps onto Solemate. When I move in game, the steps will count up in sync with my walking speed. I don't necessarily have to be walking in game, it is just important that the steps are tracking as though I was. This will allow me to move at a good pace while still sticking to the rules. As I take my first steps on the ship though, you'll notice the step counter seems inconsistent. That's because the boat I'm on is moving and my steps are tracked by my world position. This is a niche and unfortunate problem that hopefully won't come up often. After some quick quests to get off the boat, I managed to have taken only 33 steps by the time I hit the mainland. Once there, I make sure my steps are synced with my walking animation, as I'll do in each zone. As you can see with my add-on, the step counter is synced pretty well with the walking animation. The add-on itself marks how many steps I have remaining for the session, as well as my total taken and how many I have taken in the current zone itself. This add-on is a work in progress, and I'm open to suggestions for any improvements or features you could think of to add to it. As I start questing, trying to take as few steps as possible, I'll explain my goals and the rules of this challenge. The goals are simple. First, I want to better my personal health in real life by exercising more and averaging 10,000 steps a day, at least to start off with. My second goal is to explore all of Azeroth with my own steps. No one as far as I can tell has done this before, and it will be very interesting to see the scale of the world through this challenge. The rules I've set for this challenge are as follows. 1. I may only take steps in game that I have taken in real life. This one is obvious, and I am taking precautions so that if anything, I'm taking less steps in game than I am in real life, to be as faithful to the challenge as possible. 2. Flight paths and teleports may be used. Steps are not counted while on a taxi or through teleports. This will be very important going forward, routing out different zones. 3. I may not exceed the level cap for the zone. Early zones scale to level 30 in retail, so I'll be locking my level there for the foreseeable future. 4. I must do everything solo unless it is group-specific content. As you will see, it is hard to gear properly with the step limitation, so group content would be impossible to solo. 5. I may not move on to the next zone until I meet these criteria. I must explore every area of the zone, resulting in the associated achievement. I must complete all storyline quests in the zone. I must complete every dungeon in the zone, and I must tame a pet that is unique to that zone. With all that out of the way, Exile's Reach was going well. I tamed my first and most loyal companion, giving him the name Fitbit. I thought it was fitting, as I have mine as my companion in real life too. Tagging mobs from a distance and letting them run to me was saving me a lot of steps. Even when I would kill them too far away to loot, sometimes the auto loot feature would save me and not make me walk over to their bodies. This is a small optimization I had realized ahead of time, but there were many more to come. It wasn't long when I found out I'm going to seem like a noob while I'm playing, as I'll have concrete feet, standing still in combat trying to preserve my precious steps. I've never played a hunter before either, so that was going to be a learning curve for me. I had thought that this class would benefit me the most for this challenge, but I'd later find out I had barely scratched the surface of what a hunter can do, especially to avoid taking steps. This quest, for example, where you have to blow up 3 boars, I realized I could just tag them and bring them closer so they were in range of the item so I could complete the quest with minimal steps. On the other hand, there's a quest like this one, where you're flying over the enemy. This one doesn't use any steps as I am not actively moving the character. There are many different types of quests in this game. Some of them require me to use more steps than others, but it's my goal to minimize how many steps I have to take to get through the bulk of the story in this game. I had already taken over 1,000 steps by the time I had reached the main quest hub area in Exile's Reach and earned the first achievement on this account. I had done some testing prior to this challenge as I was getting the add-on up and running, and it was hard to gauge truly how far I could stretch out my steps. 15,000 steps seems like a lot. I work a physical job, and I was able to earn them just by being at work plus walking the dog once I got home. As far as how far these steps go in-game, it looks like so far it's working really well. Krenna the Druid here is nice enough to give me a ride at the end of this quest, which is fortunate because it saves me a lot of steps, and as you can see, even from just doing this one quest after reaching the hub, it's cost me an additional 600 steps. As I cross 2,000 steps approaching the Harpy area, it has a part in the quest where I need to burn 5 effigies, which means there's a minimum distance I have to travel to reach all of those. I also stand still for a while here waiting for the rare to spawn, hoping that he'll drop his bag, which he does. I don't really know how many opportunities I'll get to increase the size of my inventory without having to spend a lot of steps to do so. Everything was going smoothly. I had gotten my frost trap and I had tamed the second pet of Exile's Reach. I will say though, I don't think you'll be seeing them again, as I already have Fitbit and I'm counting them as my one pet for Exile's Reach. As I get transformed into an ogre to approach the stronghold, these do count as steps on the step counter because I am actively moving the character. So we do what we always do, we wave, we dance, and then we get the last few quests of Exile's Reach. Killing the main ogres and destroying the catapults are fine. It's always a little bit difficult to get the 8 ogre kills, and there was a group of 3 Pandaren with funny names that were in a party together that were making it a little bit harder, but it's always fun to see other people still playing the game and having fun. After standing around, or more dancing around, and waiting for the last few ogres to spawn, I decided it was worth my time to spend my steps to run around and find the last ogres for the quest. I was just making sure I'd stay over the threshold of 10,000 steps remaining for what was coming up next. Exile's Reach is a great way to demonstrate the rules of this challenge, especially because it ends with a dungeon, Darkmaul Citadel. Now, my add-on tracks steps because of the world coordinates, but dungeons are not linked to the world map, so my add-on doesn't track steps inside the dungeon. We can't have that. I can't just be getting free steps. So what I've decided upon is I must pay a fee to unlock each dungeon. I've decided that a fee of 10,000 steps is what I'm going to pay to gain access to each dungeon in the game. 10,000 steps is what I'm aiming to be my daily average, so spending a day's worth of steps on a dungeon feels right. Let me know if you think that's too much or too little, but for now, 10,000 steps is what I'm going with. So after adding 10,000 steps to my total count and removing them from my daily limit, I queue up and enter Darkmaul Citadel. After such a short time, it already felt weird to have full freedom of motion in the dungeon. I found myself standing still while fighting the mobs, and not moving around as freely as I could have been. This dungeon is just a tutorial, so after a quick 2 bosses, I'm done with Exile's Reach and heading to Orgrimmar. As I climb on the Wyvern, I've taken my final steps in this zone. Exile's Reach cost me a total of 4,560 steps, 14,560 including the cost to enter Darkmaul Citadel. I wasn't really expecting to be able to cover this whole area in only 1 day's worth of steps, but this is just a baby zone. I arrive in Orgrimmar with only 961 steps remaining for the day. They're kind enough to ferry me across the city to the last of the tutorial quests, which is good because Orgrimmar is deceptively huge. After turning in the final quest, I was free in the world. My plan was to head down to the orc starting area and tackle the first real zone of the game, Durotar. However, running there was going to have to wait. After only 150 steps outside the city, I ran out. My screen turned red and Solemate was done walking for now. He's done well and deserves a break. Tomorrow, we step off for real, to explore all of Durotar on my own 2 feet. Hey everyone, thanks for watching the video. I've never done anything like this before, but after seeing all of the hype and positivity in the community around these types of WoW challenges, I just had to try myself. This is an idea I've had for a long time, but it seems like the perfect time to give it a go. As of recording this voiceover, I have completed Durotar, so hopefully I can get that to you soon. Please let me know if you have any feedback on my editing, the pace, or any other ideas for this challenge that you can think of. Also, make sure to go out there and get some steps, and I'll see you next time.